welcome to Scrappin with Sheri. If you know me at all, you know that I am a huge fan of the Creative Memories virtual crops, and the October virtual crop did not disappoint. We were actually out of town, and I came in late on Saturday night and decided to do a couple of the ideas, and this particular one-pager I absolutely loved. It's quick, it's easy, but it's easy to adapt to several different pictures, and you can adapt it to a double spread. Now I did it here, and then I liked it so well I did it again a little bit further back in my book. So you can see that it looks very different. These pages will be posted for you to look at the differences, but I wanted to do it as a double page spread today and just show you how I laid it out. Now on this one, it's paper with the same paper and a little border sticker strip here. On this one, paper, then I used a punch, I used the die punch, and then I used a sticker strip here. So we'll just see how we can use this layout to make a double spread using different products. Now I decided to use the Autumn Harvest products. I have loved these since they came out. And this is one of the shimmer papers that was in the latest paper buffet. I think it's called Merlot, but I'm not positive about that. But unless you already have it, you can't get it anyway. But I just liked adding a little bit of shine to it. Now I'm using these two backgrounds. They're the white with just little dots on them. It's got the orange leaves on the back. And then I'm going to use this leafy print to draw it all together. This shimmer to go along with it. It kind of picks up the reds in this. And the pictures I'm working with today are pictures of when we visited with my granddaughter last week. Now, are there leaves, like fall leaves in these pictures? Nope, not at all. But what I loved was it is fall. We've got these flowers that pick up the colors of the leaves. We've got her little red bucket. And because it is fall, I wanted to use this feel for this layout. So these two are going to be my backgrounds, these Model D prints. This is going to be for a border punch and matting, but this is going to be my initial design to do my corners. So to do the corners, you're going to just put this piece of paper in and cut it at 4 inches. I'm going to turn that and cut it at 4 again to make a 4x4 square. And this is the size that Creative Memories had on their layout in the virtual crop. Of course, you can make this larger if you want it to stand out more. I just like the fact that it doesn't take up a lot of space, but it's a good look. Now, I'm turning this diagonally, and I'm putting my points on my cut mat line. Kind of hard to see. My line is kind of disappearing from use, but then I've got my 2 triangles there. Now, let's just lay it out, see what we've got, where we're headed. Now, you notice on the original idea, there was a triangle here and here. So to make that a double spread, all I'm doing is moving this second triangle to the other side. And I'm going to go ahead and tape those because I know that's where they're going to be. I know that's how I'm going to use them. That part is not going to change. And doing this, I think it's a great opportunity to use up some scraps, but also a great opportunity to use some laser borders that you have, to use some of your border punches, border maker cartridges. This is just a fun opportunity to use them without a lot of time investment, in my opinion. I'm going to pull out this shimmery paper, and you can see it. This one kind of got bent up. It was in a stash I had. But once I punch my border, I think it'll be okay. Now remember to do a border punch. You're lining up on the little black dots on the front. You can line up on either side. I just tend to go towards my right side every time. I line up on the left and move towards the right. You make your first punch, and then, oh, because my paper's wrinkled, it's catching in there. And then you just scoot and cover up the blue. Now, I did catch the edge of that leaf some. So, you know what? I'm going to start over here and do another one on the less wrinkled side. That does have an impact on your punches, if your paper is really wrinkled or really messed up, sometimes it can affect the way your punches work. They'll catch inside there. Be sure you're covering up the blue. Don't just slide it down and cut willy-nilly. Cover up the blue. You can see I'm catching again. And what I'm trying to do is ease it back out so that I don't tear those leaves all to pieces. The good thing about this particular design is if you tear those leaves up, it's still going to work. And you see I had one leaf that got a little folded in there. But this is going to give me enough to work with down that side, so I'm just going to tear this off and go with it. Now the good thing is we don't need a full length border here. We really only need about that much. And I chose this leafy border because it picks up this same feel right here. Remember, I'm going for the fall feel, even though she's in shorts and a t-shirt and there aren't any fall leaves in the pictures. It's okay. We're going for the feel. I'm just going to run some tape down through here. And I'm scooting this pretty close to my paper border. I don't want to take up a lot of space with the design, but I do want it to kind of stand out. And there we go. Now I'm just going to go ahead and cut this from the back side using my 12-inch trimmer and just cut off that excess part right there. And we've got one corner done. Let's go ahead and finish punching the border for the other corner. Maybe I can get this back in enough that we can continue on with this one. All right, so I've got the other side, the leaves for the other side. I'm just going to add a little repositionable adhesive to those. Make sure I get a long enough strip so it's all adhered. And we're going to add that right here. And here again, we're going to pull in the 12-inch trimmer and just cut off this excess border we got. You notice I flipped my paper upside down. That lets me see where I have the excess without the distraction of what's going on. All right, so I really like this look. I'm wondering if I want to go ahead and add another strip. And in the original directions, I think this was like 1.5 inches and then there was a 1/4 inch. Let's pull. Our scrap's not going to be quite long enough. Let me just pull another piece of this leafy and see if we want to add that along there. Remember, it's paper. I'm going to do this one at 1.5. My 1.5 is this first line on this side. So let me just cut one of those and see what it looks like. You know what? I don't like that because it's only cut some of the pattern. I would rather have a cross section of pattern if I'm going to have it. The wood is okay, but I don't love the grain. So I think I'm going to leave that one for now. I think I'm only going to do the outside triangles and the border. So let's go ahead and look at our photos for this. And you know me, I've got lots of them. Swinging backwards. I love the ones with the flowers, and I did take one of the flowers by themselves just in case. We were able to go and visit with this baby and spend several days with her and her parents, and that was really fun. Now, on the initial layout, what Creative Memories had done was had 3 like this with 2 above, and that's actually a pretty good look for this page. Now, I know it'll shock y'all, but I don't need both of these pictures. I love this one because she was giggling. So I think I'm going to add that one in. We've got a couple where she was playing with the flowers. I don't need both of those, so I'm going to pull one of those. And then I also have her with her little red sand bucket that she put her blocks in over and over again and had such a wonderful time. And we could keep one large one up here. Keep her swing in and add a couple of more with her sand bucket. And I think I'll do those right there. So look at this. We've already got, we've gotten it down to five, 6, 7, 8, 9 pictures on this double spread. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I don't necessarily want to cut a lot of them down. So I am going to look at where I can cut across the top and get them a little bit smaller. And I'm just going to trim those with my personal trimmer real quickly. And I'm not really cutting off anything major, just some tops where I don't necessarily need the top. Now you notice I'm cutting a little down side to side. In the Creative Memories virtual crop, they had all of these cut to be 5.5 by 3.5. I didn't really worry about cutting them that way particularly because I just want them all to fit. And I want to leave as much of my extra showing at the top as I can. I'm going to cut down right below her little hands there. And these two top ones I'm going to make a little bit shorter. I think actually in the virtual crop, those two were straight and then the bottom three were kind of angled. And I'm not necessarily an angler usually, but I liked the look of it. Now this one, I'm just going to trim a little here. And then let's trim a little of the tops, the bottoms of these. Just to get them a little bit smaller because we don't really want to cover up our whole border that we got. I can cut off the edge of that swing set post right there. So we've gotten these cut down. Let's do our matting. And for me, I feel like matting on this page is very appropriate. I feel like it'll draw the pictures up a little bit. And I've debated back and forth about the matting color because I feel like this would be really pretty. But then I'm also thinking that navy would be really nice on this to add some extra blue. So I think I'm going to pull some navy for this one. Now to do my matting, I'm going to move the personal trimmer out of the way right now. I'm going to go ahead and stick the pictures onto this navy. At least some of them to get me started. You know, I leave a tiny little mat. I don't do big wide mats. A lot of you like bigger mats, and that's a personal preference, I think. I like my mats just to barely show around the outside edge of the pictures. And this one's just a touch longer, so I've got to make sure I don't cut it off. And then I go back with my personal trimmer and trim those down to be exact. You can use your 12-inch trimmer for this. It's not a problem. To me, I just use the personal trimmer so long, it's hard to get out of the habit of using it for my photos. And you can see I've got just a little bitty mat going. I do like that navy on there. I think it really makes the pictures pop. And it brings out the color of her little t-shirt. And there are some blues in that leafy paper from the Autumn Harvest. So it gives me a little touch of blue. Now I've got enough to mat these larger pictures, so let me go ahead and do that real fast. We had a discussion at my last crop about when to mat and when not to mat. And I know that question has come up multiple times on different boards that I read. And my philosophy on matting is I've never seen a picture look worse when you mat it. So if you're in the mood to mat it, do it. If you're not in the mood to mat it, you can get by without it. But I find that most of the time, matting a picture is really going to make it stand out, particularly if you have a busy background or even a busy photo. If your photo has a lot going on in it, sometimes just a little mat will help cut down the busyness of that. It just kind of anchors it somehow. So I think matting is a very personal thing. I know my customers will say, do you think this needs to be matted? And I can look at them and tell if they want me to say yes or no. But more often than not, your photo is going to look better if it's matted. I've got a little edge sticking up right there that I need to hit with my repo tape. So we have just 3 more. Do you participate in the Creative Memories virtual crops? Even if you don't crop your photos, make the pages, add submissions to the page, I think it's just fun to go back and see what other people do and which paper packs they use. I tend to screenshot a good many of them so I can go back and recreate them later. This Autumn Harvest was just calling to me. I think it's the prettiest paper, and I've used lots of it to make journal boxes and decorative elements already, but I had these pieces left. I can skip this one over a little bit and save some paper here, so that's what I'm going to do. I think I'll trim it long ways right here because that's going to give me more space to do a border on this blue if I need to. I try to leave as much of my scraps in 12-inch sections so I can go back and use it for border strips, border maker, punches, whatever. I'm probably going to want to add some journaling there. And you see my design is covering up a good bit of this if I leave it like Creative Memories had it. But what if we just kind of lay them out our own way? So the virtual crops are great. They give you a starting point, but that doesn't mean you have to copy things exactly. So don't get caught up in, I don't have pictures that fit that particular size, or my pictures don't go the right direction or whatever. Don't worry about that. All I did on here was the corners basically. And it just gives me a starting point for a really cute page. Now I'm scooting these to kind of even out my space top to bottom. And you can see this one is a little bit taller than these two. I'm okay with that. All right, so I'm going to stick these down and then we'll see what we want to do about embellishing. And you'll see as I'm sticking these down, I did leave some space here because I think I want to write about this day a little bit. And I think that'll be a good place for some journaling. Not a lot of other spaces on here because we used up our space very well. What do you think about those corners? Do you like that look? Sure was easy. And I think it gives a nice little look without being too much. And it brought in all my color I want to do on this page. Now I had pulled one sticker from this collection just because I thought it was cute. It says Autumn Days, and I'm thinking right here would be a really good spot to put that. So I'm going to pull out some of these tiny little foam squares. Because it is a sticker, I'm going to put a few on here to keep it up a little bit more. Let me put one more in that larger spot right there. I like it that this blue brings out the blue in her little shorts. It also brings out the blues that are on the edge. This Autumn Day sticker did come from the Autumn Harvest pack, so I know it matches. I went ahead and pulled out some scraps I have left from this collection, and boy, there are not many. I've got this little flower vase, which actually would work well since we got the flowers in here. I've got a few scraps. I love that plaid. That's a nice little saying. I love the autumn, that melancholy season that suits memories so well. I might could cut that down and add it in. And some journaling boxes. I really like this. You can't see because I've got a mess here. But I like the look of that because it pulls out all the colors I've got over here. And it's a little bit big for the space I have. And I'm wondering if I could slide pictures over and make more room for that. You know, that's the good thing about these layouts. We can always move them here, there, and everywhere to make more space. I think I'm going to make the tops of those match. And I'm evening it up on this side here. But I like the fact that the length is a little bit longer there because it picks up the shape of my triangle over on the corner. So I could add this journal box here. Let's see if we can cut down this tile just a little bit to add in there. If it doesn't fit, I'll use it on another page. Look at that. I could slide that right in there. I do need to add a little more repositionable tape on the back of that leaf. There. Okay. And what else did we have? We had this flower vase that I might want to sit right here. So I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to go ahead and stick this journal box down. We'll stick it down right there. And I will have to do the journaling, of course, but I can't do that while I'm talking. So that'll be a sit down time later. And I'm going to add this just straight down, I think. Unless I wanted to go this way and add the flowers on this side. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going straight down with this. No foam squares on this little title block, this little quotation. But then we are going to use some foam squares on the back of this flower vase. I'm loving the size of these assorted foam squares with all the different sizes in it. I just think that makes putting foam squares on things so much easier. Since I love foam squares so much, I think these are very helpful in the different sizes. I don't want to cover my words, but I do want that to overlap. And I could add some of this blue coming out, but I don't really love that. So let's leave it like this. So here is my 2-page spread, minus journaling. What do you think of that? It's a quick, easy triangle layout. I could have added another stripe here if I wanted to, but I think it's okay without it. We got lots of color, lots of pictures on the page, and you know that's what I really like. I hope you'll try this page layout. Just give it a shot. It's easy. It only takes a 4-inch square of paper, some borders, and you're basically finished. So, until next time, happy scrapping.